speaking of this extraordinary book that I've been reading, and I will forever have the chart that Dr. Perry put in the book as far as...
the upside down triangle?
The upside down triangle. What you guys talk about as far as the impression that children are left with at such an earlier age than I think was spoken about in at least my growing up. I think even into almost having kids, I feel like everybody kind of went, they won't notice when they're young. And I did not understand why that was the notion. It didn't seem right, it didn't feel right, but I wanted to believe it because that's what so many people had said.
Here's the bottom line. That really was the hugest epiphany for me. All these years, I've done multiple shows where people say exactly what you just said, Drew. Oh, they won't remember. I'm in an abusive relationship. And as soon as, when the kids are young, when they get older, I'm going to move. I'm going to get out of the relationship. The most damage is done from 0 to 2 months, because that's the time when the brain is taking in everything. And anybody who's ever had children, you all know this because you get to watch that whole language socialization process. How do they learn the word dada? How do they learn mama? How do they learn spoon? How do they learn? So as they're taking in all of that, when the brain is the most open and receptive, they're also taking in all the other stuff. That changed everything for me in terms of how people are raising their kids and how we see that what you do in front of the youngest children matters.
I have a question, which is that when I was born, my dad, he had split with my mom. And I just didn't know him. He was very abusive. He would come around, he would trash the house. He was scary. There are a lot of people, and you share a story of what happened the first night that you stayed with your mom in Milwaukee. And for people who have had a parent, one or two, that did not want to be in their child's lives for whatever their reasons were, which is valid to them, very hard for a child to understand, what do you talk through with yourself or other people who have had that kind of start to their lives, who deal with that kind of trauma? You talk about the eyes and the being wanted and the being set up right. What happens when you're not?
So here's the good news about all of this, because all of us have had things that happen to us in our lives that caused us to feel unwanted and not important. Everybody has at some point in your life, even if you come from the best of circumstances. It is possible to take your post-traumatic pain and turn that into post-traumatic power and post-traumatic wisdom. I know this for sure, that whatever has happened to you can also be for you if you allow it to be. The thing that has healed me the most is taking the pain that I endured, suffered, survived as a child and turning that inside out. So that is why I created my school, specifically looking for girls who were just like me, who came from poor backgrounds, who came from dysfunctional backgrounds, who many times felt unwanted, unloved. How do I create an environment for them? How do I give back? This is how you save yourself. How do I give back that which I was not given? And when you can do that, you begin to fill the hole inside yourself. That giving back has become really what my legacy is. And I will share this with you, that I was sitting with Maya Angelou after I'd come back from the opening of my school. And I said, oh, this is going to be the school. This is going to be my greatest legacy. I mean, these girls, this is what my life was for. And she said, you have no idea what your legacy will be. And I said, oh, no, Maya, you should have been there. I'm telling you, it's going to be the school. And she said, I said, you have no idea what your legacy will be. Your legacy is every life you touch. Your legacy isn't your name on a school or any other building. Your legacy is every life you touch. So I say this to you, Drew Barrymore. Your legacy, this is what Maya said to me. Everybody who's ever watched a show and decided, I'm going to go back to school, I'm going to go on a diet, I'm going to treat myself better, I'm going to leave an abusive relationship. Every life that you have touched that has experienced your voice and the power of your platform, that is your legacy.
And that is why in Oprah we trust. And I just want to say also that you said, here's the good news. That, to me, is one of the most positive and powerful ways in which to engage people's minds and hearts because it is so hopeful.